Trilogy now offers an app with online workouts, live classes, nutrition tracking, and more. Search Trilogy Performance Sports in your app store. Use sign-up code 1824. For app info and more, follow them on Facebook.
Hello friends, this is Donnie Baker with Audubell Hearing Center, and I'm here to tell you that not all hearing aids are created equal. They may look the same on the outside, but it's the brain on the inside that counts. Our new VIA hearing aids were recently awarded Time Magazine's Best 100 Inventions of 2019. Come experience the Audubell difference. Offices in Paducah, Murray, and Princeton. Call 270-554-1900 today.
Caldwell County is a special place in western Kentucky, featuring beautiful tracts of land. Even though the real estate market is always in a constant state of change, Bollinger Real Estate and Auction understands this and is ready to work for you.
Hi, my name is Ben Bollinger with Bollinger Real Estate and Auction. Whether it's a property valuation or time to sell, Bollinger's team is dedicated to work for you. Real estate solutions with a passion for people.
Imagine this. It's late at night, it's cold and dark, and you have a flat tire. One never knows when old Bessie's gonna cause you problems. There's only one place to call, Wallace Towing and Recovery in Princeton. Wallace Towing and Recovery is a 24/7 towing and recovery service. You can count on Wallace Towing and Recovery to get you safe and back on the road or to a repair shop. Wallace Towing and Recovery will jumpstart your vehicle, change a tire, deliver gas, unlock a door, or haul as you covered in Princeton and surrounding areas. Call Wallace Towing and Recovery. Check them out on Facebook, and when you need a tow or roadside help, call Wallace Towing and Recovery at 270-963-9081.
Don't use tires and wheels, where the customer is always number one. So when life's throwing you a number two, just remember, Dunk's Tires and Wheels, because we'll be here for you. We sell used custom wheels and tires and do plug and patch repair. We have all tread styles and sizes in stock. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and on call for emergencies. Call 270-963-6391. Dunk's Used Tires and Wheels, where the customer is always number one.
Down, set, 8-1-1-8-1-1.
The best football teams always get the call right, and you need to make the right call before you excavate. If you don't and you damage a natural gas line, the Kentucky Public Service Commission will investigate, and you could be fined up to $1,250. So make the right call. Put safety first.
It's time for your SportEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYOnline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
It's a snowy morning in Princeton, but we're on the air with the Sideline Report here at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Again, lots of snow in town. Roads weren't too terribly awful coming in about 30 minutes ago, but they're probably going to get a little worse as the morning goes along, so be careful if you're out there driving around and listening to us. Going to start the show this morning with Bob Hayes, WPKY sportscaster, in the studio with us. And Bob, good morning. Glad you could make it in through the snow.
Good morning, Todd. As you say, it was not bad coming in, and as I understand the forecast, we're expecting 3 to 5 inches, and tomorrow morning's what scares me. I want to be under a heavy covers in the morning when it gets down to 6
It's going to be
degrees.
cold. Yeah.
That's my definition of cold.
Well, there is supposed to be basketball action tonight at the Community Activities Building. Lady Tigers with a makeup date against Livingston Central. No official word on that yet, but Bob, I'm kind of doubting we actually get to play that.
I would wager 100% right now, Todd, that that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Bob Hayes is in the studio with us. This is the Sideline Report here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. We'll be talking sports up until 9 o'clock this morning, so stay with us. Back with more after this here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Need cash fast? Get the money you need. Call ABC Finance now.
Did you know 7 out of 10 people overspent during the holidays and are now worried about recovering from this?
If you're one of the 7, don't worry, we can help at ABC Finance.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
And we can help you recover from the holidays with easy payments you can afford.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000.
We are locally owned and staffed, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
No appointment is needed. Walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call and we will take your application over the phone.
Or you can apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
ABC Finance in Hopkinsville on Fort Campbell Boulevard next to O'Charlie's and in Princeton Plaza. ABC Finance. All loans subject to normal credit approval.
Trice Hughes has been serving Western Kentucky for over 60 years. Their experienced sales force, ASE certified techs, and all the friendly folks at Trice Hughes have worked to become your family's exclusive automotive dealer. The home team that's kept our families safe on the road for generations. From work to play and everything in between, your home team has what you need. Team. Trice Hughes, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Are you struggling to afford health care or medications? Let Health First help you. Whether you are insured, uninsured, or underinsured, you will still be cared for at Health First Community Health Center. We offer financial and prescription assistance to all those that qualify, which is based on income and household size. Contact our office at 1-877-667-7017 for more information, or visit our website, healthfirstchc.net. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. At Health First, your health is our first concern.
Zio Bros Formals in Princeton, one of the largest formal wear stores in the area, is having an end-of-the-year huge sale. It's the perfect time to find that dress that will have all eyes on you the moment you walk in the room. Holiday parties, pageants, wedding, or prom, whatever your event, treat yourself to a design that is as unique and as beautiful as you are. Bring in a $25 gift card for donation to local storm victims and receive 50% off the entire store. Zio Bros, Main Street in downtown Princeton.
This is the Sideline Report at 1580, 103. It's looking like no Lady Tiger game against Livingston Central, and this was going to be a busy stretch for the local teams. Both teams have games tomorrow, and then Saturday, and then Monday, and then the guys open play in the All-A Classic Tuesday. So if the weather would get out of here, we'd have a lot of basketball.
Exactly, and Dennis and I were talking about that the other night after our game. It's going to be, except for Sunday, it's basketball every day, beginning with tonight's game. But tonight's game, obviously, as I agree with you, is in jeopardy.
Well, how about Jay Breon Spikes for the Tigers? Fourth in the state in scoring right now at 29 points a game. Had 42 the other night in a win over Christian County. And Bob, as you go back through the years, only 18 times has a Tiger scored 40 points or more in a basketball game, and we've seen 3 of those now in the last 2.
He has worked himself into this position with hard work, training, and all that, plus the ability that he possesses. Todd, it's just a pleasure to watch, and he's not by himself on the floor out there. He's got 4 outstanding kids to go along with him. The Whittingtons out front, tremendous defensive guards, Carter and Collin. Inside, Xavier Bumpus can go wild, and Dewey Riley, I heard coming in this morning, he's like first in the state in field goal percentage. So when Dewey shoots the ball, you pretty well think it's going in.
Well, Tigers off to a good start now, 7-3, I believe. And if you look at the RPI rankings in the second region, the Tigers have consistently been up there, 3, 4. So, pretty good shape so far. About the only hiccup was the loss over at Trigg County, but got a big win up at Union County earlier this season. So the Tigers have played pretty well.
They have had a really outstanding jelly. And getting stronger. People are knowing what their roles are, and we've got a couple or 3 really talented subs that can come in and give these gentlemen that I just mentioned, D-Man Thompson for one. You're not going to be beat and bang around him too much, or you'll come out on the short end. But it's good to watch them blend and watch and as we've mentioned, watching Jay Breon play, you don't know that he's had those many points until you start looking down at your score sheet and counting 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, and then the free throws, because he's going to get to the line several times, and all of a sudden it mounts up.
Well, Jay Breon is just a scorer, and Bob, if I was the coach, I would be okay with him getting 40 points a game. I know there are some coaches that kind of want, I'm not sure when this happened, but coaches kind of got into this thing where they want all their players to score 10 or 15 points and grab 8 or 9 rebounds, and that's great. But if you go back through the years, the good teams always had a guy or a couple of guys that, put up a lot of the points, and then the other guys kind of fill the other roles.
In Jay Brown's case, he plays well inside. He's definitely not a one-man show out there, although when you look at his scoring average, you can say he's taking 90% of the shots. That's not the case. When he shoots, he's pretty well inside, gotten free, and when he leaves the floor, he hangs in the air better than anybody that I've seen at the high school level, and he's such a good shooter inside. He's not going to miss often.
Well, and strong enough to finish around the basket, even though you get bumped a little bit.
Absolutely. He's very physically tough, as I mentioned about his weight training and the
schedule. To play tonight against Livingston Central out here at the Cab. Bob, the team has gotten better, 2-2 in the last 4 games after a bit of a tough start to the season.
The girls are finding their role. They're adapting. We're a really young basketball team, and the youth is beginning to understand what varsity basketball is about. And Coach Mitchell is bringing them along, and we're getting good, strong scoring out of Paris Gray. Inside play is beginning to get better, and Katie Smiley out front is turning into a really outstanding freshman point guard.
We mentioned the All-A Classic coming up next week. The girls actually start Monday with a game at Dawson Springs. The guys will play Tuesday down at Livingston Central if this snow will get on out of here. I think Crittenden County's girls are probably the favorite on that side. Lyon County's boys probably the favorite, but Bob, you look at the draws.
And we've already had one match with Lyon this year, and it turned out to be almost a great victory for the Tigers. But I think those are 2 competitive basketball teams, and if we can correct or handle the press a little bit better than we did in that 30-second period the other night, we're going to be in that game the whole length of the game.
Bob Hayes is in the studio with us this morning. Jay Davis has also joined us here in the studio, so we're going to take a little break here, come back and keep talking sports as we continue on the Sideline Report here at 1580.
Like and follow them on Facebook.
From the Weather Edge, this is a special weather advisory.
Winter storm warning in effect from 6 a.m. this morning until 7 o'clock tonight for the entire listening area. 100% chance of snow today. Temperatures falling to around 18 degrees by the end of the day. Snow accumulation 3 to 5 inches. Partly cloudy skies tonight, low down to 6 degrees with a wind chill as low as 2 below. Mostly sunny on Friday with a high 25. Wind chill values as low as 3 below 0 during the day tomorrow. Once again, a winter storm warning in effect from 6 this morning until 7 tonight for the entire listening area. Snow could be heavy at times, 100% chance. Snow accumulation today, 3 to 5 inches. Temperatures falling to around 18 degrees by the end of the day.
Trice Hughes has been serving Western Kentucky for over 60 years. Their experienced sales force, ASE certified techs, and all the friendly folks at Trice Hughes have worked to become your family's exclusive automotive dealer. The home team that's kept our families safe on the road for generations. From work to play and everything in between, your home team has what you need. In Princeton.
Goodwin Insurance Agency and Woodall Agency have great news. Effective January 1st, they have joined forces to provide even more options for all your insurance needs. Together, they provide the best prices and coverage from top-rated insurance companies and insure all lines of insurance. See Tori Hammett or Fred Foltz or go to insurewithgoodwin.com for more information. Don't pay too much for your insurance. Let them shop for you and save today.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Bob Hayes in the studio with us this morning, and Jay Davis now joining us in the studio as well as we continue talking sports. And Jay, first of all, good morning. Thanks for coming in through the snow this morning.
Oh, you're welcome, Todd. Just good to be able to still get out and get around.
Yeah.
Maybe not later today.
Well, we hope the snow moves on so we can get to basketball, but you've actually got some football information coming up this weekend for us.
I do, Todd. We're trying to do all of the assigners in the second region for all sports. There's a shortage of officials. We've been talking about it for several years now. 9 at 2:30 p.m. we're going to have a meeting for prospective football officials in the second region or anywhere. If somebody just wants to know about officiating high school or middle school football, there's going to be a meeting at Caldwell County High School auditorium. It starts at 2:30, lasts an hour, maybe a little longer. Some people have some questions they'd like to get answered. And along with that, the Second Region Football Association officials are going to have a meeting also. And it's a way for them to maybe bring some new people into it. Last year is the first year that I'm aware of that any of the football schools in our region were put in a situation where they had to move a game or they weren't going to be able to play on Friday night. And our ADs and head coaches have been great about trying to work things out. So our school, for example, they want 7 officials, and that goes back to David Barnes and the spread offense and wanting to have that many, and trying to get that many officials out there is not, we couldn't do it all the time. So we had some schools that were not receptive to moving games in there on Saturday or Thursday night having a conflict. But this Sunday at 2:30 out at the high school auditorium, we're going to have some information and talk a little bit about what goes into getting into it, and try to educate the public a little bit later on this year about why we are losing so many officials.
Did I recently see that baseball and softball got a bump in pay? Bob, you might want to jump back in on some of that.
No, Todd, I don't think my wife would let me do that, but you know, it is interesting to hear that.
There's our policy board, the state's plan is a $5 raise every 4 years, and they rotate the sports. Nobody wants to know ancient history, and Bob and I can tell you what we used to get paid to go do a 7-inning game. And it's not just the money that's changed. Most of us remember when baseball games in the second region started at 4 o'clock. And that didn't make any difference if Livingston had to drive here, or if Mayfield was coming here, or if Caldwell was going to play at Henderson. Kids got out of school early, got on the bus, drove. Game started at 4 o'clock. Umpires were there, and then it got to be a point where umpires couldn't get off work and get to places, so they moved games now gradually back to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And if you play a varsity JV doubleheader, you're walking off. It was more the time on the field. And so not only did they, Baseball Coaches Association in our region, the ADs raised the pay, and the coaches agreed that a JV game will be 5 innings, limited is 5, but instead of setting a time limit, they set 3 outs or 5 runs.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got one team that's just walking the bases loaded, when they get their, I think it was 5, when they get their 5 runs, we're going to change. We're not just going to stand out there and watch, let them throw balls all night and that's not good for that young pitcher. It's not good for anybody just be standing around. So they've done some stuff there. They did give all of our sports a raise. A varsity football game for a 5-man crew is $85, and a 7-man crew is $80, and that was a $5 raise. JV games on Monday night are $65 for a 5-man crew, and then we get $80 for a middle school doubleheader, 4 officials. So it's not bad if you can stay close to home, not have to drive.
As an official, you talk about the 7-man crew and the 5-man crew for high school games. Which would you rather do? Obviously, there's a little more money for 5, but is it easier when you have 7?
Well, not only is it easier, it's a better officiated game. Right. David Barnes, there was a scrimmage one day, and you were probably there, Todd. It was, we went over to, Caldwell it was at Christian County, and they only had 4 people out there trying to work a scrimmage, and there was a lot of holding going on at the line of scrimmage, and before you know it, you got kids slapping at each other, pushing each other, and I think it ended up breaking out into a little altercation, and David said, we quit and came home. I didn't need a fight. But the biggest thing is the little things get caught, and the little things are the ones that cause the serious injuries, the below knee blocks, the down the field stuff that stirs up the garbage in a game. As people that watch football now on NFL and college, it's gone to 8. And it's just because the game it's that much difficult to officiate. Both of you remember when we went to 3-person in basketball.
Yeah.
Coaches were, and that's when I was assigning basketball, and coaches were adamant, they're going to call more fouls. They're going to call more fouls. And I said, well, maybe. And in 2 years, Julian threw out the stats. There were actually less fouls in a high school basketball game with 3 people because we weren't guessing. 2 people guess. 1 person, 3 people can do a little bit better job refereeing. We still miss plays, but not to the frequency of the rest of it.
Well, and with football, it seems like the rules have changed, and now you have blindside blocks and all these targeting calls, and if you don't have a lot of people out there, you're not going to see a lot of that.
Not going to see a lot, Todd. And educating the rules on Friday night are not the same rules they play by on Saturday or Sunday. And we're trying to do a better job, and our coaches have been great about including their assistants. This year, we're going to aim at middle school coaches. When you got a middle school coach that tells you that can't be pass interference, it wasn't a catchable pass.
Right.
Some of my officials have been known to turn to the coach and say, Coach, this is not Saturday. I'm sorry. That's not a high school rule. Now, they may not have said it that kindly, but sometimes it gets a little frustrating to be fussed at every play.
Well, Bob, how many times have we talked on the broadcast about here's the rule for high school, here's the rule for college, here's the rule for the pros, and they're not always the same.
And that's more often than you think. More often than you think.
Talking this morning with Bob Hayes and Jay Davis in the studio with us. Tori Hammond has come in and is going to join us a little bit later. Jay, I did want to say congratulations to you, though, on the WKU Athletic Hall of Fame induction back in October. That had to be a big deal for you and just a great day.
It was. It was special in many ways, not just me playing, but I was able to have my Aunt Margaret and my cousin Kim and Lee were there because Uncle Charlie used to roll them out of bed on Saturday mornings here, put them in the station wagon, and they'd take off for Bowling Green because he was coming to my football game, and he drove. Jamie and her family were there. But as I mentioned during the induction speech, wide receivers don't make the Hall of Fame. Quarterbacks make receivers or put receivers in the Hall of Fame. If it hadn't been for some really, really good quarterbacks, I don't think I want to play for Zappy, Todd. I wouldn't get to stay in the game very long because they run 7 or 8 receivers in there, and he's got his 2 little favorite guys that he brought with him from Houston Baptist. But when you throw it, we threw it one time in 4 years over 50 times. The rest of the time, we threw it 25 times. We were throwing it a lot. But thank you. It was a great day for my family.
Well, I was going to bring that up, that you had all those receiving records when you graduated from Western, and that was back in a time when they didn't throw the ball a whole lot. I mean, not as much as today's game.
Right. And said, well, the one record you still had, which had been there for 50 years, was the most reception in one game, and that was 15. And now, and then when it went away, and then I was reminded by one of the guys at the induction that, you know, to hold a record in anything anymore for that length of time is certainly something to be proud of. And I'm not sure but what my daughter and son weren't more proud of that stuff than, I mean, I'm proud of it, but it was good, Todd. It was really good. Thanks for recognizing
and
that.
certainly back in the Jets, you know, that just seemed like a day in the office, going out and catching 8, 9, 10 balls a game, not realizing what was going to happen down the road, so to speak. But this is an honor long overdue, Todd, for Jay. I mean, I don't know how you can not put that in perspective with what you just mentioned, but the offenses back 40 years ago, 50 years ago, were not high-octane offenses. And I don't know what kind of route you ran, Jay.
Short ones.
I was going to say, you certainly didn't take off on the post patterns.
The 2 of the quarterbacks that were able to be there both said the same thing when they were interviewed before the induction was, well, Jay was the one receiver we had that wasn't afraid to come across the middle. So that was
and just as the Boston Patriots or the New England Patriots, you know, obviously it was a possession receiver. You don't go over the middle trying to break passes for long gainers. You're just trying to make first downs.
right. I wasn't known for my speed, that's for sure.
Well, and the receivers weren't afforded some of the protections at that point that they are now.
No. You were linebackers looked to see if you were coming because at 155, 160-pound receiver coming across the middle looked like somebody they might like to attack.
Well, tell us a little bit about the day. What all did Western Kentucky do for you guys during the Hall of Fame ceremonies?
We had the induction and everything was actually on Saturday, and they do a breakfast, and now it's grown. It used to be in the lobby of Diddle, but it's grown now that they do it on the floor of Diddle Arena, cover the floor and all that. But they do. They have a video that they prepared. There were 5 of us this year. They did not do an induction in last year in 20 because of COVID. So the other part of this is if you can't be there, you don't get inducted unless it's and I'll say the word wrong, posthumous induction. So there were 5 of us, country runner, All-American cross-country runner, a swimmer, and a female basketball player who was actually on the first NCAA basketball teams that Western put on the court. But they have a breakfast, and then they have a video they show about us. My phone call from Paul Just, who is the SID emeritus there and puts all the stuff together, wanted to know if I had any pictures from that era. And I said, well, yeah. I said, my mother never threw anything away, and we've still got the scrapbooks. So I sent him the pictures. Then when they showed my video, a friend of mine who had, unfortunately, was a guest of mine that day, looked at me and said, how come none of your pictures are in that? And then we're allowed a speech. They asked us to hold it to 7 or 8 minutes. There were several people in my group that questioned my ability to keep it under that time limit. And as both of you know, that was a valid point. There were 3 people that actually wanted to read my script. Well, I took care of that. There was no script. I didn't write. I had 4 little bullet points and I did get those in. I was up there 6.5 minutes, and I think I kept everybody happy with my speech. It wasn't about me. It was about the people that made it, that opportunity available to me. And there were 3 of them, Jimmy Fikes, Coach Gilbert, and Dr. D. Rowe Downing.
Well, I agree with Bob that I think it's been overdue, but I'm certainly tickled that you're in the Hall of Fame now, and maybe you can help us with another project, and that's getting Dwight Smith's jersey hung up in the rafters at Diddle.
Well, I brought it up in public. It's another one of those things, and thanks for the overdue part. Dwight was a legend and still is on the Hill to a lot of us. And unfortunately, history unfolds as people pass away. And Clem and I talked at Romeo Cornell's induction into the Kentucky Professional Athletes Hall of Fame back in September. And then Clem was also there at this induction because his daughter's also in the Hall of Fame, and they were there as a family, and Clement and I talked about the same thing. There are advocates. It's just that as time passes on, there's less of us that are advocates. But it's certainly long overdue, long overdue.
Well, maybe we can all keep beating that drum and make that happen one of these days.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's got to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's got to happen. I mean, he's, as Jay said, he's a legend.
And there's no doubt in any of our minds that were around and got to see him play. Oh. That's an L.A. Laker wearing a number 1 if he wanted to wear a number 1 and being there.
Absolutely.
Just an unfortunate opportunity for he and Kay.
Talking this morning with Bob Hayes and Jay Davis. Tori Hammett is going to join us here in just a minute. Need to get to a break here on the show, but back with more after this here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Hancock's Neighborhood Market.
From the Weather Edge, this is a special weather advisory.
Winter storm warning in effect from 6 a.m. this morning until 7 o'clock tonight for the entire listening area. 100% chance of snow today. Temperatures falling to around 18 degrees by the end of the day. Snow accumulation 3 to 5 inches. Partly cloudy skies tonight, low down to 6 degrees with a wind chill as low as 2 below. Mostly sunny on Friday with a high 25. Wind chill values as low as 3 below 0 during the day tomorrow. Once again, a winter storm warning in effect from 6 this morning until 7 tonight for the entire listening area. Snow could be heavy at times, 100% chance. Snow accumulation today, 3 to 5 inches. Temperatures falling to around 18 degrees by the end of the day.
Christian Care Center of Catawba is now Landmark of Catawba. The ownership and name have changed, but the caring and commitment from the staff and administration is the same. Landmark of Catawba cares for their residents, and you can be assured your loved one will be treated with the dignity, courtesy, and compassion they deserve. The residents are friends and family to them, and they do their best to ensure that each one lives to the fullest of their ability, nurturing body, mind, and spirit. Call Landmark of Catawba 270-388-2291.
West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction holds monthly auctions at the Auction Center on U.S. Highway 62 in Princeton, in the former Hancock's grocery store. Be sure to check their website for dates and times and listings of auctions and days at the Auction Center. WestKentuckyRealEstate.com has all of their upcoming auctions listed. If you would like to have an auction or would like to find out how to consign at an auction, contact West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction. Wayne Boyd, broker auctioneer.
Life is filled with moments. Moments we share with those we love, worry about, and strive to protect the most. At Woodman Life, we provide life insurance and retirement products to help protect you and your family so that you can enjoy all the moments to come.
This is Josh Ray, your local Woodman Life agent. Come see us at 1009 West Main Street or give us a call at 3...
Insurance Society, Omaha, Nebraska.
We continue here on the Sideline Report at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks to Bob Hayes and Jay Davis for coming in this morning. Tori Hammett now joins us in the studios. And Tori, glad you could make it in through the snow. And man, the West Kentucky Hoops Classic, that was great.
Well, thanks for letting us talk again. And yeah, it's a little bit of snow out there, maybe going to get worse. But yeah, we had a super event. Don't know really what could have helped make it any better. It was just almost perfect.
Well, so many teams coming in, and I think I mentioned it last week on the show. The thing that struck me was the competition level was off the charts, but it seemed like after the games, even if it had been heated a little bit, the teams came together and they would hug and shake hands, and a lot of times there would be a prayer circle after the game.
Yeah.
So, it was the best of both worlds. You had those really competitive games, but then afterward, there weren't any problems. Everybody came together.
Yeah, I thought the overall, I don't know if it's just where we are in the world, but just extreme competition. 3 overtime games, maybe three or 4, 3 I know of, maybe even 4. And the team testament to the coaching staff. So I think that's the key. A lot of the coaches, we don't always get a lot of time to spend with them, but a lot of good coaches, a lot of good staffs, and it just seemed like they had their teams in good order, good discipline basketball.
Well, and certainly the highlight maybe for local fans was the big Caldwell Lion showdown. A big crowd for that one.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. I don't know if we can parlay that together every year, but it would be nice to have, because I think it did a lot for our community. Of course, it did a lot for Caldwell County athletics, because a lot of that, as y'all know, the funding and the sponsorships go to the athletics and and some of that gets some support out of that, as well as the basketball team. So yeah, it was great. I don't know that I looked around enough, because people said, man, the place was packed. I don't know that I even looked around to see that. I could hear it down where I was, but yeah, and they got a great game. A great game. It's just Kyle just had it right there to pull out. But testament to Lyon County. they got some players, and when they needed Perry to do his thing, he did. So but Caldwell played great. So that's what you want.
Well, one of the fun things about the Hoops Classic has always been some of the kids you bring in. They're highly recruited on these really good teams. This year, you were actually able to showcase a couple of local kids that are pretty high up.
Yeah. That was a great benefit. And of course, I had talked to Coach Perry Ryan, about having them here to talk, and he did. We had to accommodate a little bit, because they have a schedule that was, had a lot of games in it, and he could only do one game, and so we worked it out where they could do that. But yeah, it was great to have Travis in the building, and of course Jay Braun is getting some attention now, from Caldwell, and rightfully deserved, because he's doing a really good job too, and so we're thankful for it, man. That just all around that game was perfect. The only thing locally, Caldwell we would like to pull that out, but. Great effort. Nobody could be there and be sad about how that game was played, because we got the best
Corey,
of it.
I'm glad that game came at 7:30, not 3:30.
Oh yeah, yeah. We needed that one right there in that primetime slot, but that was pre-planned. So it worked out good for us to be able to get them together like that.
Well, again, it was just great to see those teams, and I'll be honest, I kind of thought Webb School was probably the best team out here, although Biggersville, Mississippi got them and was probably the best defensive team I saw. So
yeah,
those were some good games.
Yeah, my of course, they're from the county that I grew up in, smaller 1A school. Historically not that strong, but they had won the state tournament last year, which I would encourage anybody that hasn't seen the video of how they won the state tournament last year to go watch the video, because it's unbelievable. I don't know if it made it to ESPN, but if it didn't, they missed it. It was a unique scenario where if the other team doesn't save the ball, bigger was good. He said, they're good. And I said, well, how good? And he said, well, let me watch them play Tupelo, which is a 5A school. And Tupelo got them by a few points, and he said, I told you they're good. So, and of course, Coach Cliff Little down there is quite the reputation for being a great coach. One of the top coaches in the state. My dad says he's one of the top. He said, son, he's one of the top coaches in the state. He said, I'm telling you, their kids are going to be good. And so you don't know what you expect, but when they show up and get that game won in the way that they did it, just physical and scrappy, and just I'm over there as an ex-player and a guard. I'm just exhausted watching that team try to get it down the floor on Biggersville, thinking, man, they're wore out. And then they get into game 2 against Webb, and of course nobody thought that game would go like that. Well, they just thought Webb would be too strong, too big for them. And I don't know, we were about 2 minutes into the third quarter, and I was sitting near their bench, and their big coach, Stafford, General Coach Stafford, I heard him look at Coach Little and say, "The big boy's done. Their big boy's done," and just tired. He says he's tired, and I just kind of glanced over there and watched, and he's just getting down the floor was just difficult every possession, and they kind of they wore him down. But now that the number 3 kid, whew, what a player! What else do you want other than a 3/4 length shot to tie it up?
Yeah, bank one at the buzzer to send it to overtime.
With the crowd wearing him out cleanly, but wearing him out. I heard things like, "We're 1A Mississippi 3." Just kind of and smiles at them. Nothing that was out of bounds. Just fun sportsmanship. And then for them to tip it in on 2 or 3 tips, they finally tip it in and beat them. Biggersville win. So we were thankful to have Webb. We had just COVID and everything had kind of created a little bit of issue getting teams. It was a little bit harder this year. Had a South Mississippi team back out. Had a Arkansas team that just couldn't quite make it work. So Webb, I had put out there. We were looking for a team from a couple different states, and the Webb coach called and asked. He said, "I know I'm not in one of those states you mentioned, but what do you think about could we come back? Because we had them when they had Keon Johnson, which I believe Keon Johnson's been the best kid we've ever had in the building." Personally, but when looking at it a little bit, we thought they were good because they've been really good here. I mean, they have good teams when they come and good disciplined basketball. So it just worked out that they kind of fell in our lap. Thank goodness, because it was great to have them. And I didn't realize that they had 2 kids that were that good. The big boy's back. He's just a junior, so he'll have another year to get a little bigger and a little stronger. And I think 3's going to SEMO, Southeast Missouri.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton, Kentucky. Talking with Tori Hammett about the West Kentucky Hoops Classic. And, Tori, I was glad we had the COVID. And then this year, the tornado came through, and certainly don't want to downplay that in any way, but it seemed like it kind of helped the community to have, at least from the sports standpoint, to have that event to kind of focus on and to maybe try to take your mind off of the tornado for just a little bit.
Yeah, I think we discussed. Well, we mentioned it. Daniel and I talked about it, and he said he was going to talk to administration. I wasn't involved in that part, but do we do it? And he said, well, let me talk to administration. And I don't know how that conversation went, but I know in my mind I was thinking of, what a tragedy, what a tragedy. And we were, everybody's trying to fix that as best they can, which has created incredible unity in the community to get folks going that direction from all the Mayfield, Princeton, Dawson Springs. But I do think it was a good thing to have, and I saw a lot of people there that are victims of a lot of tornado damage, and just to get your mind off it for a minute. You can't get your mind off it completely, but maybe for a minute, enjoy a little basketball, as well as, we got student athletes that have been grinding to get to this point, and the Jay Brown Spikes of the world who's trying to put himself in position to play at another level, and I just think it would have just been a tough. It'd been tough to say no, let's don't have it after not being have it the year before. But differing opinions on that. There could be some people that maybe thought we shouldn't have, and I could get in that camp too if I wouldn't debate anybody on that. But I'm glad we had it. I think it was a good thing for the community. I think it did a lot for Caldwell County athletics and the sporting teams. I know Jay Brown was spoke to. I just say his name specifically because I think he got an offer or at least opportunity after that tournament. So. Got to find the good in things, but it was good little maybe mini break just to step away and do a little basketball.
Well, and thankful for a team like Arlington that actually came with supplies.
Yeah, they had reached out. So crazy little story. Won't mean probably as much to West Kentucky because they wouldn't be that connected. But that Arlington's coach had left, and several of their players, 4 to 5 of them, had transferred. So they had called and said, "Do you still want us?" And so he gave me the details, and I said, "Well, I think we can work the schedule out to change some matchups." And he said, "That's great." So in that conversation, I found out that that's Billy Brewer's grandson. Billy Brewer, the ex-coach at Ole Miss football, the dog, Billy Brewer, and which was just kind of neat. So I ended up talking to Billy Brewer's son and grandson and getting them just. I want my kids to get an opportunity to be involved in what that's looked like. And I said, that's great, and yes, you are coming through Mayfield, and if that's where your heart is to help, that'd be great. I said, but you're coming to Princeton, and Princeton's been impacted as well in a pretty bad way. I said, but just our neighbor, Dawson Springs, has been just really, really hammered. And I said, if you, I think it'd be a good deal to, y'all talk about it, but if you want to earmark your supplies for Dawson Springs, we'll get you to a place here in Princeton. Dawson's it's a really tough situation. So I'm not sure exactly what they bring, but I know they delivered it and they were happy about it. Took some pictures, so we thanked them, and it was a great deal. And hopefully it made an impact on the kids.
Looking ahead, where do you stand on getting ready for next year's event?
Man, I haven't even looked. I haven't even started. We don't typically start in advance. However, I've learned, positionally speaking, there's a few tournaments that impact who we're going to get, and the City of the Palms, and there's a Bass Pro, some huge tournaments. There's the Arby's Classic. So typically they start real early, and they're booking 2 years in advance. So once I've had a few teams fall to us that didn't get the invite or just didn't make the final cut for some of those tournaments. So we're kind of an A-, if you will. We're a 2A or whatever you call it, 1B. To some of those tournaments, and that's okay because those are huge, 3 and 4 day, 5 day tournaments. So we'll start pretty quick.
Well, one of my favorite stories from the just completed West Kentucky Hoops Classic is, and Tori, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but the Lee coach in the last game of the night against Murray, in the third quarter, he's on the bench ordering pizzas on his phone as the game's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard that. That's a first. That's a West Kentucky hoop. That may be a basketball first. Who knows what he had on his mind? I guess he's thinking, if I don't order it, they're going to close or something. So whatever works. It worked for him. Whatever he was doing in his coaching, they ended up getting the win.
He actually asked us where to have it delivered to, and we told him just to have it in front of the gym. They show up during the game at the side door. The game's still going on. He comes over with cash, pays, notices a call is not going his way, leaves the money with the delivery guy, runs out onto the court, and starts arguing a call.
What a treat.
All while the game's going on. And
what a treat. Making memories, right? Making memories. We can share that one for years to come. But, yeah, that's not what you'd expect in your game. That was down pretty much to the wire. It came down close. So, well, it's a good game. It was a really good game, and I think that that was the first loss for Murray.
Yeah.
And Murray was really, really, really good. Murray took one on the chin for us. They took, because of the scheduling stuff, they took a third game. And not only that, then I called with the Arlington situation, with a matchup situation, and said, Coach, can you play at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m.? And he was like, well, gosh. And then he said, well, I guess I will. I'll do it for you.
Well, that was
and I
good.
said, well, we'll feed you during the day somewhere to help kill a couple hours. And they did. They went and watched basketball, I think, or football, or a bowl game or something at Majestic House. We're thankful for Majestic House, by the way, letting them come in there and do that. But they looked a little tired to me, and rightfully so.
Well, it had to be tough to come back and play a second day, especially waiting all day.
Yeah,
like
all day. That wasn't good for them. But we thank them for it, and it'll help them in the long run. It'll give them some. They played against some length that maybe they won't see as much in their region. So.
Well, Chuck Mitchell was out there watching that game, and I asked him if he'd ever ordered pizza while on the bench. He said no, that was a new one to him. So.
Yeah. Well, they may need to enter that into their game planning sometimes, Lee.
But it was a great event, and can't wait for next year to get here and do it all again.
Yeah, it was fun. I love it. I think people like it. It seems like they did, and I don't know. it's engaging and competitive, and I don't know. I think about Scott sitting next to me with the stats deal. I'm thinking, man, that's the greatest thing going, because he is. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he keeps up with all that at one time.
And does the PA.
Yeah, he's running Twitter, PA and stats, printer. But it's just a fun event. And, we had some other kind of cool things that came into play. The First Southern put together a halftime of the Caldwell Line girls, Caldwell Line boys, to give away some disaster relief funds, and the head coaches, which I was a little skittish about this when they brought it up, because I'm thinking, I don't know if the head coaches want to do that at halftime because they're game planning.
Right.
And it worked out good, but both games were tight at the half.
Yeah.
And both coaches, of course, Daniel was involved in this, but as soon as that half was over, Daniel was almost to the locker room.
Yeah.
Before it hits him. And I knew that was going to happen because, man, they're scheming in their mind. But they came back out and did. I think he hit 6. Ryan Perry hit 6, and then of course Ryan hit his little half court. I cut up with him. He was about 3 or 4 feet across the half court line. So we couldn't give him $10,000, but it worked out for the. We didn't have $10,000 on the table, by the way. But he made that shot. So the 900 for Line boys, 600 for Caldwell boys, and then the two ladies, Coach Mitchell and Lions ladies coach. I think she hit 8, and I forget what he hit. I think he hit 6. So that was nice to have First Southern give some disaster relief money away on behalf of those head coaches and their team.
Is the Caldwell Lion matchup something you might want to revisit in the future?
Yeah, I hope. I would like to. I would like to get that done. I mean, again, nothing wrong with aspiring to play in the biggest tournament you can get in. So I get that angle, and I would support that as a in this region of the country. Anybody that was going to do that, I mean, man, go get them. West Kentucky, go show up. But if we can get that matchup, yeah, I think it's a good thing for us. Because I would have really liked to seen them play Biggersville.
Oh yeah, that'd have been a great matchup.
I would like to seen Biggersville's defense against that offense, and because height wise they're pretty similar, so I'd like to see that matchup. But it's fun.
Well, a great event this year, and I appreciate you coming in this morning and taking some time to talk about it.
Yeah, well, thank you, WPKY and Todd, Heather, and your Sports Edge, and all that goes into it that people don't see. They just enjoy watching that on Twitter, or they see it on Facebook, or they catch the games, and nobody sees all the stuff that y'all are doing to get that produced for them. So I appreciate you doing it and scoring updates, and it just couldn't be done without a whole bunch of people. Sponsors, I didn't bring my list, but man, we had several, and it's always great to have all the sponsors be involved, and the community's always helped out get that done. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and we're thankful for everything going. Caldwell County Administration, several of those people are out there the whole time, and they could want to do something different in their Christmas break, and that'd be understandable. But they support the kids and they support the tournament and are there to help, and it's great. A lot of ladies and guys doing cafeteria with feeding the teams the night before, so we're thankful for that. The coaches' room. I mean, there's just so many people involved, so we appreciate everybody.
Yeah, Bob, I think that's one of the biggest sports events in Caldwell County each year.
Absolutely. It's as Tori mentioned, certainly, I went through the tornado, and it was great for me to get back in there and do a basketball game as well as Dennis. And to have not had the tournament, I think would have not suited me well, Tori. So thanks for having it.
Well, and Bob, I want to congratulate you on going to Orlando and getting Kentucky a win. I had Chris George on last week as you guys were going down there, and I always say if you're going to go, make sure you get a win, and mission accomplished.
I'm just glad they gave the ball to C-Rod on that last play. No other back, I think, would have slipped that tackle, gotten into the end zone.
That's right. They're looking good.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in today and talking sports with us. Bob Hayes, Jay Davis, Tori Hammett, thanks a lot. That's going to wrap us up this morning. You've been listening to the Sideline Report here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. This is Todd Griffin. Thanks for being with us.
WPKY Princeton.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. Today's 1 year since the riot at the Capitol, as Congress was certifying the results of the 2020 election and President Biden's victory. He says there today,
1 year ago today, in this sacred place, democracy